Jonesy, this is not any typical weekend. The Memsie Stakes meeting is this weekend, and we're incredibly excited because Neds have given us the keys to the castle this weekend, mate. We are hosting a hosted pot with the good people at Neds this weekend via your local Neds app.
Mate, super exciting stuff. The keys to the castle. Let's ransack it. Let's take it all. Drifters and punters. Very easy. Just open up your Neds app and you click on your groups tab, and you should be able to find it from there. It's the UX is phenomenal. Let's just say that. Or is it CX? I don't even know.
No, UX, user experience, CX is customer experience. So the start time for the pots this weekend is 11:30 AEST. This Saturday, the 30th of August. The final bet will be placed on the last race at Caulfield, if we so choose. But yeah, join the group to follow the bets. $50 buy-in, and if there are any winnings, which we're ambitious that they will be. They will be equally distributed to all the participants for the weekend. So get around it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be doing these throughout the spring. And thank you to the good people at Neds.
Big thanks to the good people at Neds, and bring on the Memsie. Looks like an absolute ripper.
Chee-hoo, baby.
But what is gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
I need to ask you a question. Be curious, Drifters.
Allegron's won the Brisbane Cup, but it's all Antino. Blake Shin, take a bow. Barrackeel, Benny Allen hasn't moved.
Broadside him, bobbed, won the Golden Rose.
Pride of Jenny, trying to find the reserves at the 100. She's 3 in front of Mr. Brightside. It's all too late. Pride of Jenny has run them into the night. Switzel on the big winner by 2.5 Bellatrix Star.
He's down, Jolly Star. She is a star in the making. Jolly Star bolts in.
It's all Isthmus. She's very smart and fast.
My friend, we're back for, frankly, an excellent edition of the Memsie. I'm excited to preview it.
Best Memsie we've seen whilst doing this podcast, comfortably.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
Still probably not worthy of the Group 1 tag. I want Group 1 tags, reserved for the grand finals, but it is a cracking field regardless. And I think I can narrow it down to a few different winning chances in this point in time. Keen to see what you think of it as well.
Yeah. There's a few horses that are easy to rule out, right? Because you know that they're going to be nowhere near wound up and they want a lot further. The thing that's throwing a little bit of a spanner in the works for me, Daniel, is the Melbourne weather. I would assume right now that the Caulfield track is probably a soft... it says it right here on RaceNet, it's a soft 5. I would love that on the weekend for it to be a soft 5, but I think we're going to get a little bit more rain. So I think for today's podcast, going to talk as if it's going to be a soft 6, soft 7. It might be worse, it might be better.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I did as well. The other added layer of complexity is the westerly wind, up to, I think, 20-25 kilometres an hour. And so if you're looking at it, that is from right to left of your screen as you're looking at it. So it'd be a headwind into the straight. So typically, if there is rain on the day and that westerly wind, on the rail is not the place to be. You want to be wider out with a little bit of cover, having the last crack at them. So keep that in mind as well, Drifters, and obviously do your own research as you're watching the races throughout the day. And as it is an outdoor sport, it is subject to change.
Yeah, imagine that. Being at the mercy of the weather gods in the great sport of horse racing. It's almost like some people consider themselves to be a little bit above it. Oh, interesting. Yeah. But look, the Caulfield card across the board is fantastic. I think, I was actually pretty confident looking at it with some bets. So keen to get stuck in. And Rosehill, we've got a bit of a role reversal. Should be a dry deck by the weekend.
I'd say so. Yeah, I think probably borderline getting into the good range, I'd say. But if it's a soft 5, I think that's a great result anyway. Just with the absolute hammering New South Wales has taken in terms of rain. So it's good that... Imagine Randwick this week, it would just be absolutely flourishing, which is what we want to see, especially because we haven't actually touched on this, but the Everest is actually running at Randwick this year. It's not running at Rosehill.
It always runs at Randwick.
No, sorry, not the Everest. The Golden Eagle, I meant to say.
Yeah, the Golden Eagle's running at Randwick. I found that interesting as well. I think it's a great race for Rosehill specifically. So does that mean that they're having an additional meeting at Randwick, or are they putting the Golden Eagle on somewhere else, or is it still going to be run on Derby Day? Or I haven't looked into it.
Still on Derby Day, I believe. It's just, I'd say what would go into it, I'd say betting turnover at Randwick would be higher, and I would say that probably higher capacity fields. And the sale of Rosehill not going the ATC's way would also go into it.
Yeah, I think you're dead right. I think it's a little bit of a up yours from the ATC to Rosehill supporters, because that's the biggest spring meeting in Rosehill each and every year since its inception. So yes. Look, I like betting in Randwick. I like betting at Caulfield as well. I think Caulfield, when the rail's in the true, it's a lot more consistent in terms of with the weather and what the wind's doing. You know where you want to be in running. So yeah, keen to get stuck in.
What, you don't like the 1400 metre start at Flemington at all? One day I just want a card of 1400 metre races at Flemington. That's all I want.
Mate, 1400 metres at Flemington is pure fucking toxic. It's pure poison. It straight into your veins like a brown snake, just kill you instantly. Box jellyfish, paralyzer, dead in the water. Like, you're pretty. I just can't. I can't get a grip of it. I don't understand it. I can't navigate the 1400 metre Flemington start. I just feel like I'll pick a horse and then thinking I've finally figured out the pattern and where you want to be in those races. And then my horse will be in the first third. I'm like, oh, we're on here. And it's like, no, it's a sweeper's day. It's a sweeper's day. It wasn't last week. Oh, so frustrating.
Mate, Sunshine in Paris was retired during the week.
She was.
Yeah, unfortunately from a training mishap, but she was a bloody good mare, mate. I think 3-time Group 1 winner in the end.
I believe so. I think she got that Champions Mile...
Champion Sprint,
down in Melbourne. Did she win the Dooma 10,000 up here, or was it the Kingston Smith?
I think it might have been the 10,000. I think Jolly Star might have won the Kingston Smith.
That's right. And she won the Surround.
The Surround? Yeah. One of those as a 3-year-old as well. So, super mare. My lasting memory of Sunshine in Paris will be backing her the day before my wedding, and she running a very close second where I was on it 2 or 3 times the price. But she was still a bloody good horse.
She was a good horse. The daughter of Invader. He's doing his best work up here in Queensland. The son of Snitzel. I believe he won a size produce back in the day. Invader.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. All right. I think it was a massive hit last week, so we have another edition of Who Am I? So just waiting for the music.
I'll keep Private Eye.
There we go. All right. Don't know if that's really loud.
It's pretty loud.
That might be. Right. Yeah. Okay. Who am I? I'm a 4-time Group 1 winner and a 4-time Group 3 winner and a 2-time listed winner. Okay. I had 29 career starts for 13 wins and 8 seconds. I won my Group 1s over 1,400 metres, 1,600 metres and 2,000 metres. I'm a daughter of... No. I am a daughter of Savabeel. My last race was in
Probabeel.
2022. Yeah, Probabeel. Well done. Well done. Yeah. Reason being is
she was a good horse.
yeah, she was a winner of one of these feature races at the Cochrane, Group 3, 1,200 metres for the mares. She was a winner of that a few years ago. So why not? Why not?
She was certainly one of ours.
Absolutely, she was.
We backed her in. Was it an Epsom? Yeah.
Epsom from Barrier 20 with Kieran on board. That was actually the last clue I had for you because I knew you'd absolutely gobble that up. All right. Now, breaking news. You want to jump on your Neds app right now, and I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that because you're going to have the most fun that you could ever have on a Saturday punting because you can follow us in because we are, the Neds have given us the keys to the kingdom, you might say, and we are the administrators for the Neds hosted pots for racing throughout the spring, and our first one is this weekend for Memsie Stakes Day. So, just reading out some T's and C's here. The start time of the pot is at 11:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time this Saturday. The final bet will be placed on the last race at Caulfield if we so choose to do that. We might have 500k in the kitty and call it a day.
Hey, mate, the pot might be 500k before we even get started the way it's tracking.
Yeah.
Look out.
All right, so how you join is if you log into your Neds app, there'll be a banner up the top, and you'll see that. You can click that, tap the Pots tab, and it's a $50 buy-in, one entry per person. The balance, so after all bets are resulted, the Pots funds will be divided equally among all participants, and then you can follow the bets in the activity tab in the little Pots section within the app. So it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I know some people have done it. I think Hello Sport might have done it throughout the autumn with Neds previously. So now it's our turn. And I don't know about you, mate, but I've actually got a couple that I'm pretty keen on. And you know, there's a couple of might be some favourite bashing, but there's a couple at a price that I like too.
Yeah, there's a few at a big mick price that I like. Look, we'll talk about it today. There's a few that I am keen on, weather pending.
Yes, yeah, of course. All right, shall we get into it? Let's jump into Caulfield.
Yeah.
All right, so as we kind of touched on, bit of rain around. I think it's hitting Friday night and Saturday morning, and there potentially is some rain throughout the day on Saturday as well. Rain is in the true. Westerly wind, as I touched on, which can make it difficult to win from a leader's perspective. So midfield with a bit of cover could be the place to be. A westerly wind in the straight does mean it would be difficult to lead and win, as I said. So I reckon we start off with race 5, the Headley Stakes, mate. A listed 1,700 metre handicap. Previous winners of this race, Rise at Dawn, Solcombe. I remember we were at the Bowls Club when he won this race.
Oh, I had a good day that day, actually.
Yeah. Emissary, No Effort, and In Good Health. So you could say that Solcombe was the best of that bunch. Any firm opinions in this race?
Yeah, for me, there's probably two horses that I'm tossing up between, and they're both at a decent enough price. First one is number 6, Kingswood. The grey horse still got his nuts for Gavin Bedgegood. He strung together some wins in the spring last year that rated really well. Look, yeah, who is he beating? The likes of Almarise, Staunch, Barclay Square, Star Vega. But he was doing it really well. And they were over sort of 2,000 metres, and they were talking about this horse possibly being a weight for age horse come the autumn. He failed in the 5 Diamonds and then came back. And then I think he had issues after his last race of the prep in the spring. So he missed the autumn. He's come back. He's been trialling well. He's $7.50 at the moment. It's a dross gate, and he's got dog shit Johnny on. So they're the big queries. A horse at a similar price, number 15, Too Darn Discreet. She's $7.50 at the moment. This is her 4th run of the prep. So she started off at Caulfield about 6 weeks or so ago. And that was a complete forgive job. because she was last on the rails. I mean, that's not where you want it to be. It's probably where you never want to be, let's be honest. And then came home like an absolute freight train at Flemington next start on the good deck to win it at a big price, and then just missed out in a benchmark 100 last start. Again, a little bit of a tricky draw, but if she can stalk and just sort of sit around midfield, we know that she can get through the soft going. Remember when she won on that day where it was bloody hailing at Caulfield? Can you remember that?
Yeah, yep.
And she's weighted really nicely in this race too, and I think she has a lot more fitness than some of these other horses. So they're the two that I'm tossing up between. Quick shout out to my guy Scary, number 14 in this race. He needs probably triple this distance, but quick shout out to him. Still got his nuts. Gelled him. There's no commercial value there. Gelled him.
Mate, if I had the money, I would set up a little breeding operation just focused on stayers. Like, honestly, I reckon it's an untapped market.
It is. You'd have Gold Trip. You'd have Shocking.
Yeah.
Screw it. Buy Scary.
Yep. Well, mate, I think Microphone's thrown up a couple of potential stayers, and it's like like Zed, as we touched on last week, has a Group 1 winner over 1,400 metres. Now, albeit Very Elegant was an absolute freak, but it could be untapped. The staying might actually skip a generation. You never know.
Yeah, it might, like twins.
Yeah.
it really could. Mate, who knows with breeding? Bloody Extreme Choice side the Melbourne Cup winner last year. So it's a guessing game.
Exactly right. Yeah, difficult race, and I've gone a couple here that I'm putting in a case for as well. And, there'll be 16 eventual starters here with 3 emergencies. So I think Golden Path is probably a horse with a bit more upside potentially on Too Darn Discreet. He was only first up in that benchmark 100 where he was about a length behind Too Darn Discreet there, but he'll eat up the step up in distance here. Second up, he'll only improve. Had some pretty decent form in the autumn rather. So in the Very Elegant Stakes, he was only 2 lengths away from Via Sistina. Think that's good enough to feature here, I would have thought. And actually gets about quick maths, about 3 or 4 kilo weight swing on Too Darn Discreet here. So I think that can definitely go in his favour. The other one I was looking at here was River of Stars. I thought she was a big price, $10. We last saw her leading that frantic pace in that Sydney Cup over 2 miles, but I do love a 2-mile horse a stayer kicking off over this distance. I really do. Her form on rain-affected ground is not too bad. Like, she was 4 lengths away from Dubai Honour on rain-affected ground in the autumn, and I think her trials have been good enough. She'll probably go out and lead this. Now, is that the place where you want to be on the weekend? Debatable. But I think with these staying contests, or these middle distance contests in Victoria in particular, they're just so lacking of speed that she could just control this and just, run them into the ground. So I think she's probably the one at the price that I'm leaning towards, River of Stars.
Yep, she's got the right jockey on as well with Craig. I feel like in these sort of contests, particularly where there is a strong breeze, he rates them really nicely up front. So, it could be onto something. She's a nice price.
All right, the McNeil Stakes, Group 3, 1,200 metres for the 3-year-olds at set weights and penalties. Good horses race this. Growing Empire won it last year. V8 the year prior. Jacquino the year prior. Bruckner, who actually placed in a Coolmore at 100 to 1, which yours truly was on the place for. And Immortal Love. So, any firm opinions with this race?
Well, the big question I have is whether Devil Knight's going to go here. Has he been scratched from Sydney yet, or is he still dual nommed?
A decision is getting made at 5 p.m. Thursday, so today, because that is when the float is leaving Rosehill or Randwick, wherever they are.
Right, okay. Look, I think irrespective of whether he takes his place in this race or not, I really like Vinrock. For me, what he did in his first prep to win a Group 1 tells me that there's a load of upside. And this isn't a grand final. We know that. He's heading towards a Golden Rose, but we're the undefeated horse, and he's by I'm Invincible. And I'm Invincible is typically a stallion whose horse will start to get better as they hit their 3-year-old years. So I'm really keen on Vinrock. He's drawn a nice gate. I think he's adaptable enough that he doesn't need to necessarily lead, but he can be prominent. I don't know if he's seen a wet deck though. That's the only thing. He hasn't. He's only seen good decks, but typically the Vinnies they handle it pretty well, and he's got Mark on. So he's 480 at the moment with Ned. So I'm keen on Vinrock.
Okay, yeah, nice. I think Jimmy Ricard's pretty good.
He is
had the absolute dreamboat run last start. Didn't go around as another horse, and was challenged at the 100 metres, 200 metres by Tycoon Star, and still got the job done. And hearing Jamie Mellum after the race, she was saying that once he got challenged and got a bit of a dig in the ribs, he actually responded to that. So I think he's got a little bit of toughness about him. Barrier 8, don't mind that, given what we were talking about before about the potential shape of the meeting. So have some cover, have the last crack at him. Maybe Jimmy Ricard, but at that price, I probably want to see it. I'm probably happy to let this one go and back the Victorian victim in and whatever way that he goes.
Yeah, we'll have to have a chat to him at some point between now and this race, won't we?
Yeah, I'd say so. High Vol, interesting horse. He's one of these microphone colts. He's a gelding, actually. But for Nick Ryan, I think this horse actually beat Buckaloo, who was one of my Spring Futures selections. So this horse, if he goes towards, I think he looks like an out-and-out kind of staying type, despite being out of microphone. So he's one that I've got an eye on towards, say, like a Caulfield Guineas or potentially even a Victoria Derby.
Fair enough. Great name.
Yeah. All right. The Heath, 1,100 metres, Group 3, set weights and penalties. Previous winners of this, recommendation. Asfura, the 2-time international Group 1 winner. Unbelievable. Shooting for Gold, the Queenslander, I believe. Masked Crusader, where are they now? And Diamond Effort during COVID as well. Interesting race, this one. Where'd you land?
I found it really hard. And this is probably a race which is really dependent on weather for me, because if we're getting to that soft 7, heavy 8 range, then the old boy, number 4, Marzu, surely he comes into conversations for being worth your money. Like, he only won once last prep, but it was enough to show me that he's still good enough to put a field like this away, particularly if he's dipping his toe in Marzu, and Jamie Mellum sticks in it. I like that. So I think Marzu's placed him. I think Joe Pride's placed him really well in this race. So Marzu is absolutely a chance for mine. Tropicus is another one at a big price. He's $15, where if it is a bit of a wet deck, and he's a horse who failed last start, but for me, he's got that sort of action where he actually lifts his legs quite high and should be able to get through a softer deck. Just a little eye test. What do I know? But again, he's drawing nicely and he's a big price, so I think Tropicus can run a bold race. He's shown some serious talent in his 8 starts so far. And then the other one, Outback Miss, with Damien Lane on, lightly raced 5-year-old mare. That form behind Commemorative, form behind Osmar, I think is really good form. And she gets a nice weight relief in this race. So, yeah, not sure which way I'll go. Maybe just have a little bit of a spec on Tropicus if he remains a big price.
What about the Queenslander, Zarastro?
Zarastro, yeah. I looked at Zarastro. For me, I'm thinking it's going to be a softer deck, and based on what Tony Golan said, he doesn't want too much rain. So, yeah, prepared to just let him go around without me. But good to see Cousin Ange making the trek down.
I think he's in career best form, Zarastro, and if the weather does by some miracle miss, I think he's definitely the play for me. But if it is on the worst side, there's two plays in the race. One is Marzu. If you like, you can't. His first up run in the spring last year, he was beaten half a length to Iron Me and Steffi Magnetica in the shorts over 1,100 metres. That form stacks up, and that was on a good 4 track. So, and we know that he will only improve. His trials have been really good. And the other sensational trialer was Airman behind Briasa. And rain-affected ground is suited to him as well, and he can just pull one out of the cap as a in his last couple of years at a big price. He's $16, Airman. So I wouldn't talk anyone out of having a play there either.
Maybe a race to get a little bit weird and exotic in.
Mate, might have to do a same race multi or something, or a Quinella, or we'll figure something out.
Yeah, absolutely. Tricky race.
Very tricky race. Now, the Cochrane is another good horses race. Group 3 for the 1,200 metres for the mares at set weights and penalties. Quintessa, Benedetta, Chain of Lightning, Probabile, and Perfect Jewel, the last 5 winners of this contest. What do you do with Magic Time? Do you back her here?
She's clearly the best horse in the field, clearly. And she doesn't mind having a little bit of the ability to dig her toe into the ground. I don't know, something about the back end of her prep gave me a little bit of the ick.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Right out of it. Bit icky about Magic Time. She was once my girl.
Yeah. So I'm prepared to let her go round in this race. But with the set weights and penalties nature of the Cochrane Stakes. I don't think she's weighted too poorly as a 2-time Group 1 winner, 3-time Group 1 winner, or something like that. But happy to take her on. Saw a bounding pop up here, and I was like, geez, I could get sucked into $21. She finished off really nicely last prep with a second in the tiara. And look, she's not down there for a holiday, but doesn't win out a turn at bounding, but it'd be the first time I'm not on her at a big price that she turns up. And then there's another two that look good, and they're in the market. Number 12, Mr. and B. Number 13, is it Gerringong? Gerringong. Both look to have great chances, but I think Mr. Beanie's a horse who's improving massively. She raced early on in the year, and they gave her a break over the autumn. She's been trialling well. She's by Zoostar. She's got good soft form. Ethan Brown is a jockey I really rate. So she's probably the horse I'm going to back. She's $5.50 at the moment, but not in a big way because the chances don't stop there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Gerringong, and I can't believe I haven't seen this previously. She is a blue point, which is not might have to halve my bet after seeing that. So, but she finally draws a gate. Now, is this the day to actually draw a gate? Maybe not. But her trials have been super. She's won on rain-affected ground, albeit probably not to the extent that we expect her to see this weekend. The other one is the Blake Shin mount in Damask Rose, the New Zealander, who knocked off Evaporate in a listed event over in Ellerslie in March. So probably more suited out to the mile. So I'd say she'll be here for a Golden Eagle. Probably not. I'd say she'd be here for an Empire Rose.
Yeah, I'd say so. Particularly, out of that camp, they typically aim for the more traditional stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've named about half the field here, so
take your fucking pick.
Yeah,
I haven't even talked about GG Smith Truth, the Tassie horse that I always back. She blitzed him down there, so the chances don't stop there. But I'm happy to back Mr. and Beanie.
Yeah. No, I'll back you in, mate. Now the Memsie Group 1 Wait for Age contest over 1,400 metres. Previous winners being Pinstriped, Mr. Brightside, Snap Dancer, and Behemoth 2 times. gee, Mr. Brightside's friendless. $7 for the old boy. You know, a couple of soft trials. He finished last in Hong Kong. Where do you start here?
I think he's the most obvious.
Yeah,
I think he is. If you're just reading form for what it says on the page, you're looking at his form and you're thinking, well, his 1400 metre record is phenomenal. His fresh record is phenomenal. His Caulfield record is phenomenal. He doesn't mind a soft or heavy deck. If you're reading it on paper, he's the most obvious. So based on that logic, if you want to dive into the $7, I couldn't talk anyone out of it. I've gone in a different direction, and for me, it's just because, and I think Aliana was the perfect example of it last week. It's that untapped, where's their ceiling, sort of train of thought. So if I'm looking at this field, the majority of it wouldn't shock me if they won. You know what I mean? Like, the majority of this field, if they won, I wouldn't be shocked. So I think it's a little bit of a dartboard, but I'm going to throw my dart at a horse that hasn't tasted defeat for a long time. That's number 11, Treasure the Moment. There's a few things against her in this race. Gate 1 with the westerly breeze, I don't think is ideal, and I don't think she's a horse who probably would like it too wet. Just from her action and from what Matt Laurie sort of said about her, definitely would prefer to be on top of the ground. And clearly she's a horse who can stretch out over further. And I think she's probably going to be an elite 1600 to 2000 metre horse for mine. Treasure the Moment. I don't think she's a stayer. But we saw it with Aliana coming off those taxing, autumn 3-year-old campaigns at the Classics. I think that would have strengthened her right up, and I think that sort of starting point over the 1400 metres could prove to be a really good starting point for Treasure the Moment. And she also shows initiative in her races. Like, she'll roll forward, and I know that you probably don't want to be leading on a day like today, but how many times do we talk about that? And hey, that's not where you want to be on days like today, and then the jockeys don't show initiative, and then you see 3 or 4 leaders win throughout the card. I don't see a stack of speed in this race. I think she's going to roll forward and she might pinch it, Treasure the Moment. I've got a lot of time for this mare, so she's actually still a 3-year-old filly. She's not turning 4 until November. So I'm with Treasure the Moment, but look, mate, nothing you say I would disagree with. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who you're backing, but I'm not going to disagree with it.
Yeah, I think there's two plays for me. Potentially even 3, to be honest. Like, it's that sort of race, and they're all around that $5 or $6. I think the horse I'm most confident will run well is Another Will. I think first up he flies. Barrier 3's cherry right for him. His trials have been outstanding. He won first up over in the Ore, I believe, last prep as well. So I think he's the most likely for me. He knocked off Mr. Brightside in the Ore, as I said. Only slight query for me is the potential give in the ground. I know he's won on a soft and a heavy, but and the stable's quite confident that he'll get through it, which is a positive. But if it gets really into that heavy range, I'll probably be favouring Mr. Brightside, because I don't know if there's many wet trackers in this field at all. Mr. Brightside gets through it, yes. Tom Kitten definitely wants it on being on top of the ground. One of the great gear changes for him this weekend. Barrier extension first time.
You love to see it.
I reckon we've been calling for that for a while.
He's an enormous horse. He's an enormous horse. Let him have some room.
The Freedman saw something that James Cummings didn't. And Tino's a wet tracker, as we know. His grand final is a Cox Plate. Here to shock and get through the going. Buckaroo, maybe. So, yeah, Another Will's the one I'm probably most confident in. But because it is windy there on Saturday, and if it is a Swoopers Day, and it's a soft 6 or better, tell you what, Fangirl's a pretty delicious proposition. 1,400 metres first up.
Yeah, she could blow this field away. Fangirl. And Tino's grand final is a Cox Plate, but you know, if Blake Shin pushes the button and it is a Swoopers Day, he can be neck and neck with Fangirl. Maybe even beat her home like he did in that Champions Mile last spring. Because they were right next to each other, and you know, I think down the straight at Flemington, and he beat her home. So, but yeah, she'd prefer 1,400 metres compared to him. Oh yeah, it could be anyone, but you got to have an opinion, and yeah, Treasure of the Moment's mine.
I like it. I will say to that, I don't think Fangirl was going that good in the spring last year.
No, she wasn't, was she? She wasn't quite herself. She is a 7-year-old mare now as well, so sometimes they just come off the boil a little bit. I guess we'll wait and see.
Well, she also had that like a training mishap or something, or a virus or something.
That's right.
She just didn't quite bounce back. But she showed from the autumn that there's still some wins in those equine legs.
Absolutely. And Godolphin, all of these Godolphin horses having gone to new trainers, like albeit it's just happened, right? But sometimes a change of environment can really improve a horse, and maybe Tom Kitten goes to a new level this prep. Who knows?
Mate, I'm hearing that his grand final's a Cox Plate this prep.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Like, what a rise to fame in the last prep, to be honest, because he was nowhere.
Yeah, he's always had talent.
But he was not disgraced. He has not been disgraced in one run, I don't think, in the last year. Like, no. He was second in the Epsom. He was fourth in the King Charles on a soft 5. He was third in the Golden Eagle, first local horse home. Second in the Futurity, won the All-Star Mile with yours truly on board. Fifth in the George Ryder, where he just had no luck at all. Seventh in the Doncaster, beaten less than a length, carrying 55.5 from barrier 1, which for a horse like him doesn't suit him. And then ran third in the Queen Elizabeth behind Via Sistina and Dubai Honour. Oh, he's got worldwide form.
He does. Kitty Cat Tom. Kitten no more.
Yeah. Tom Cat. Yeah. I like it.
He's a funny horse.
He is a funny horse. All right, let's go to Rosehill. Currently rated a soft 6. I think the rail is out 3 metres. But yeah, absolutely drenched in sunshine as we're talking. So I think, in all likelihood, probably will be in the good range, if not the early soft range. But I had a question for you before we kicked off this, because this is a race for the 3-year-olds, and the next one is as well. Has your opinion of the 3-year-olds, i.e. the 2-year-olds from last season, because you thought it was the worst crop you'd ever seen, has your opinion changed at all?
No, well, there's been nothing that I've seen thus far in the spring to change that opinion. Look, I'm not going to write off all the horses that went around in those classic, 2-year-old feature races, because maybe they were, actually 3-year-olds, but because the crop wasn't that great, as 2-year-olds they were able to stand out and get to those grand final races, and maybe they're going to take a massive step up. We see that all the time, like, 2-year-olds who run well without winning in those feature races, and then as a 3-year-old they really come along. So I'm not going to write off the entire crop, but as it stands right now, they're weak. From what we've seen. And also, I don't know what the limit is on this field for, I'm assuming we're going to talk about race 6, the up-and-coming stakes. But there's only... Central Coast has been scratched, which is a shame because I was going to back him. Only 8 horses in the race. Like, how often do you see that? Only 8 horses in a 1,300-metre kickoff point for the 3-year-olds. So I don't know what's going on with that crop, but maybe there's just not enough quality to actually get them to a metro race.
Yeah, would it be possibly because the San Domenico is on the exact same day, over 1,100 metres.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so I'd say that's probably why. But your point is a good one, because I think these horses would be heading towards a Rosehill Guineas or a Caulfield Guineas, I'd say. I think that's the logical point. I think there is one that is potentially going to be heading towards. Oh no, sorry. See, I'm getting my races mixed up. But the up and coming stakes, basically 4 horses around the same quote here: Aerodrome, Providence, and 60s. 2 of which are trained by Chris Waller. I do think his best chance in the race is actually 60s. I think Providence, I think the Newgate connections have pulled the JMac rein there. So I would, personally, I'd back 60s over Providence in this race.
Yeah, I was keen on Central Coast just because of that Autumn Boy form. Runs second to a good horse and then comes out and wins comfortably midweekers. So don't know why he's been scratched. Oh, did he?
Trial today. Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Chris. So, yeah, 60s for me is probably the horse that I'd be keen on. But, yeah, none of these horses really fill me with that much confidence.
I'm by 7 lengths on a heavy 9 over 1,150 metres. No subsequent winners, but that race was only 2 weeks ago. So I think there's plenty of time for that form to stack up if it is going to. There is a horse that I've been burned by this before, but I'm in love with how professional this horse looks, and that's number 7, Tyreek, for John O'Shea and is it Tom Charlton?
Yep.
Oh God, this thing has a outstanding action, and it's a real give it a nudge and it responds type operator. And that's from his 2 trials and his 1 career start over a maiden. Beat Burma Star. So Burma Star had to look through just to see if, that horse is any good. That went on to win on a bottomless deck by 4 lengths at Warwick Farm. And also had form around Savvy Halley and King of Pop as a 2-year-old. So I think, all things considered, Tyreek is in the game here at $7, and he gets a little bit of weight relief from those more, I guess, favoured runners, Aerodrome and Providence here.
Yeah, look, I like what you're saying, but there's a critical reason as to why I could never back this horse. Take a look at its dam.
Reel 'em in Ruby. Yeah,
remember that big 4-leg multi I had? It was the 4 legs of the quaddie. Tick, tick, tick. The last leg for a significant collect was Reel 'em in Ruby, and she ran second by a nostril. She did not reel 'em in, and I was devastated. I think it was Metropolitan Day. It was like, I think Colding won the Epsom, and then it was like something like Lean Green Machine or something like that. Once I can't remember, but yes, could never back this horse.
Well, Tyreek might be featuring in a hosted pot. We will see. The San Domenico 3-year-old Group 3 over the 1,100 metres set weights and penalties. Devonite is in the field here as well. Rivellino, Baywalk, King of Pop, Wotan, Raging Force, Nashville Jack, Tommy Vegas, who has Bathurst form, I believe. And so I'm really taken by this Raging Force. I think this is if he's not around favourite for the Coolmore, I think he should be. I think he's got that much talent. Now, being the son of Cosmic Force, potentially wants some cut out of the ground, but if I'm looking at these horses here, I think he's just going to absolutely gobble up, as he has previously, Rosehill. I think he's just going to go to the front and go, hey, catch me if you can, guys. And I don't think they will. I think he's got a real push button, bang, see you later.
Some genuine favourite bashing. I think Raging Force is going to be incredibly hard to beat. I'm just going to make a small case for number 2, Rivellino. He had a phenomenal 2-year-old prep, and he's one that I was talking about who maybe will improve as a 3-year-old. So, yeah, Rivellino I probably will have a bit of a bet on because he's a nice price. But, Raging Force, I think he'll be a pot bet for sure.
Yeah. Got that residual fitness from the winter as well. 7 weeks into this with 2 trials as well, which both of those he was sensational winners of. Just will meet some of these on the bounce, I think. A lot of these, all of his main competition are first up. Rivellino, trialling really well. Do want to see him come back and do it because that is a very taxing prep for that horse as a 2-year-old. But his trial suggests that he is officially back. And then King of Pop was arguably one of the best trialers of this crop as well. But like his daddy, Farnan, who was one of the best trial horses he has seen, potentially just need to see him do it too.
Yeah, so fair.
Yeah. Maybe we'll obviously have a ton of other bets throughout the day, but they're the features that we're covering.
Yeah, we'll have to have a bit of a strategy meeting in terms of how we play, but those are decisions that have to come pretty much match time because got to play what's in front of you. Got to keep an eye on the patterns, the weather, all that sort of shit. Drifters, so very excited though. Bit of pressure, but you know what pressure creates?
Diamonds,
winnings,
cash.
Yeah, pure cash.
Yeah.
Pure cash. Diamonds bigger than Taylor Swift's.
Yeah, mate. And
that's a big diamond.
Pressure creates glory. That's what it actually does. And that's what's before us. Absolute glory for not only this Saturday, but pretty much the majority of Saturdays right throughout the spring. So
well said. Well said.
Yeah,
it's in the palm of our hand. We just got to do something with it. We got to grab it.
Yeah. Yeah. One shot, one opportunity. Eminem sort of stuff. So
all that sort of good shit.
Yeah. All right. That's all she wrote, Drifters. Follow on the Drift podcast on Instagram. We will be posting in there, but also on the Neds app, you'll see it as I kind of highlighted earlier, what the plays will be for the hosted pot. We'll see you later.
Let's go get him. Let's go get him.
All right.